Okay, hi everybody, and what am I doing today? I have here, this is a voltage regulator. It regulates from 3 volts to about 35, and you rotate this screw here clockwise or counterclockwise in order to increase or decrease the voltage. And I use it very often when I'm building RC stuff. Sometimes I need different voltages than the one my power supply provides, because the power supply I have only gives me 12 or 5 volts or 3.3, but if I need like 7, 9, 16, 24, it does not give me all that power. And so usually I use this to get that power for testing things on the bench. But the problem is that anytime I rotate this this tiny little screw in order to increase or decrease the voltage, I don't know what voltage I'm getting in the output, so I have to always keep this around, and I have to be touching the pins and to see how much voltage is coming out. I also have here this thing, which is a voltage reader. This cost about $2, and this one cost about $3. And then I have here this thing which I had built before, which is basically just the cup of a plastic bottle or something like that. I put here these two nuts, and I have this port underneath, and I simply plug here 2 wires and I get the current here on this side. What am I going to do? I'll simply use this. I have here this mark. I'll put the voltage reader here. Then I'll pick up the voltage regulator. I'll remove this blue part, which is the one which regulates the voltage. I'll put it away from the board with 3 wires just working as an extension. I'll put this underneath this, and this blue part with the bolt will be coming out here on this side. So I'll have everything in one piece. I'll just plug current, voltage, a battery on one side. I'll rotate the screw and I'll see up here on my voltage reader how much voltage is coming out. That's what I'm about to do. And let's start. First of all, what I must do is to cut this area to fit this in. Okay, so I've managed to cut it with the X-blade. Now I'll simply put it here inside from this side, and I'll hot glue it in place. Okay. And now these wires, they're gonna go red's gonna go on this side, which is the plus. So this is the plus, it's gonna go there, and black one is gonna go on the other side, which is the minus, so that I can easily know what voltage do I have. Strip these wires to hold them in place. See how it ends up? Pretty cool. Now let's go and put these. Okay, now I'll simply pre-tin the black wire and the red as well. I put the other part aside for a while, and now what I have to do is I have to pull this blue part out. So let's do that. Okay, I've managed to pull it out. First pin here, this one, red one, it's done. That one is gonna go on this first hole on this side. I'm not sure if you can see like that. Now I will very simply warm this up. And okay, so this is more or less how it's gonna end up. Now I'll just put the other two wires in place. Okay, now I've managed to cut this here again, and I already have this like this part away from the board. I'll simply insert that in place here. Now that I have it in place, I'll hot glue it. Okay, meanwhile the hot glue warms up, I'll replace these wires, the ones for power in, as well as the ones for power out. I'll replace those which are too thin with stronger wires that can support more amps, in case I plug something which is a bit more heavy duty, let's call it like that. While the welding iron warms up, let's glue this in place. Okay, so that's it. Same thing, black goes on the outside. Now we have all the wires connected, and the only thing which is left to do is to connect these two, red to red and black to black. Okay everybody, so now I have this pretty much done. All I did was I glued this on the back, I've soldered the wires in place. So this is power in on these two, goes to this side of the voltage regulator, and then it comes out on this side, and here it goes positive to the positive and negative to the negative. Here I have the three wires to connect the blue regulator to the board as it was here, and it was changed. On this side what I have is this. I have the two connectors, I have the reader, and I have this to regulate the voltage. So let's give it a try and see how it works. Put it here in a place where you can see it. More or less like this. And I have here a battery. Go on. Yeah, it's giving me 10 volts current voltage out. This is the negative, this is the positive. I can use this as well to make sure it is actually doing what it says. So if I put this here and this one here, well, let me try and get both in camera. Oh, never mind the bullocks, here's the Sex Pistols. Damn it. Okay, as you see, it gives me 10 volts on both. This is okay, both are giving me 10 volts, and as I increase here 10.5, 10.7, so this battery does not give me more than 10.7. That's the charge of the battery pack I'm using. But here if I pull it back, you can see it decreasing. 945, 848, 7, they're pretty much the same, so I can say that it works. Now I have it here. pretty much finished. I put a bottom cover on it, and it ended up to be something like this. Now what I'll do is I will, not sure if you can see, I'll put on these two ends of the wires an XT60 connector, which will allow me to use any battery pack I possibly want, 2S, 3S, 4, 5 or 6S, and then I'll also be able, with a different wire extension, plug it straight out from my power supply. So now all that's left to do is to weld this XT60 in place. Now I'll just put the heat shrink tubing in place, and and it's done.